I mean, we're only going to be talking about the NCAA tournament, right?
Um,
I mean, that's all I care about. I don't care. I know you probably care about whatever the Patriots are doing, but I don't. So
well, I was gonna have that as like my walk off.
I don't have a walk off.
Wow, lame.
Yeah, I don't have anything. Nothing exciting's happening except for the tournament.
Uh, could talk about how we're gonna miss John Brown. The
Oh yes, yes. That can be my walk off.
Yeah, that will be your walk off.
Okay, cool. Good.
Yeah. All right, and
Mike, you've
what?
got shit to say about John Brown, right?
Yeah, I got a few things to say.
All right, you can. I'll throw it to you when we talk about
All
that.
right.
All right.
So, hey, what music are we gonna play?
I was thinking we could start with "They're playing basketball. We love that basketball."
Oh yeah, that's
song.
good.
Yeah, and then we'll close it out with "One Shining Moment."
No, I was thinking we could do one shining moment when we talk about the national championship game,
Yeah.
first
But
week in
are
April.
we going to be doing an episode then?
Oh yeah, we could do one shining moment now, actually.
Yeah, because this is like the special NCAA tournament.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Let me pull up my bracket. Give me 1 second. I gotta pull up my bracket.
Okay.
If you want,
I'm just gonna pull up my bracket on my phone.
about this too. I did a bracket.
Yeah, sure. Mike said he did a bracket too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who'd you pick, Ethan?
Michigan State over UConn.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That's interesting.
Are you serious? I don't even have UConn making it to the Sweet 16.
I know. One of my friends was like, "You're crazy if you think UConn's making it to the Final Four." But
I'm a UConn fan, and I don't expect them to.
All right. Hey,
let's
save it for when we actually talk about it.
Okay.
I can't.
All right. Wait. So what's the name of that song again?
It's basketball. By Blow.
By what?
Curtis. I'll introduce it.
All right, you'll do it.
Yeah.
Hold on. All right. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Pulse. We are back, ready to preview the NCAA tournament. It's March 16th, St. Patrick's Day Eve, and we just saw Cinderella, Holy Cross. They are 15-19 after tonight's win. They were the 9 seed in the Patriot League tournament and won 3 straight road games to win the Patriot, or 4 straight road games to win the Patriot League tournament after not winning a road game all year in the Patriot League. And now they are heading to Spokane, Washington to play Oregon in the first round of the NCAA tournament after defeating Southern 59-55.
Didn't they go 5-12 in conference play?
What?
They went 5-12 in conference play. Isn't that what I heard?
Yeah, something like that.
Isn't that crazy? I can't believe that team's in the tournament and High Point isn't. But
yeah, I was just about to say that.
I'll get to that in a minute. But good for Holy Cross. I know that's your local team.
Yeah.
My local team right now is playing in the CBI tournament 5 minutes away in UNCG, but that's a little pathetic. But the NCAA tournament is what it's all about, and good for Holy Cross for making it through, getting to the round of 64, which is the first round again.
Yes, as it should be.
Yes, because the first 4 is not the first round.
The first 4 is the playing games.
Yes, exactly.
But so yeah, and also our alma mater, High Point, and Mike's current school.
Yeah.
They, as we were talking before, Holy Cross, 15-19 a 9 seed in the Patriot League tournament. They catch lightning in a bottle, and they're going on a miracle Cinderella run. Won the Patriot League and tournament and going to the NCAA tournament. And meanwhile, you have High Point, a 1 seed in the Big South for the 4th straight year, and they can't make it even to the conference championship game. High Point is just
why are we talking
unluckiest team? High Point is the most unluckiest team in college basketball that I've ever seen the last 4 years. It's just ridiculous how frustrating it is.
I'm saving my true feelings for my walk-off, but you can tell how I feel just even you mentioning it. It makes my blood boil a little bit.
All right. So now let's get to the actual tournament. We were talking a little bit about our brackets in the beginning, but last week when UConn went on their run to win the American Athletic Conference, I said, don't bet on UConn in March. Well, I'm not betting, or don't bet against UConn in March. Well, I'm not betting against them as I have them upsetting Kansas in the second round, the round of 32. And I actually have them going all the way to the championship game. And, I mean, I see a lot of similarities. I mean, if this was a year where something crazy happened, this would be it. We've seen this before from UConn, where they were in danger of missing the tournament altogether if they didn't win their conference tournament to get the automatic bid.
See, my feeling
UConn did it. UConn did that. They won their conference tournament. I mean, they don't have a Jeremy Lamb or a Kemba Walker or Shabazz Napier, but I feel like once again they're going to one of their players is just going to kind of come out of nowhere and carry this team
the thing
all the way to the finals.
When that happened in the past, and I'm a UConn fan, you know that. All of our listeners out there know that I'm a big UConn fan. And I love to see them do well. And I love the run they're on now. The run that they went on to win the American Athletic Conference was ridiculous because they went from being the first 4 out in the tournament to being completely in the tournament and then finally winning their conference tournament outright. So as much as I want to believe that UConn is going to do it, the reason I'm skeptical is because they don't have the reasons that we've won national championships the last 2 times is because we had a player get hot at the right time. We had Kemba Walker back in 2011. He went on this unstoppable roll, the best roll any player's ever been on in the NCAA tournament, and almost equal to that, except for maybe Shabazz Napier 2 years ago to carry UConn to an unexpected national championship. And I just don't see that with the Huskies this year. As much as I want to believe in UConn, I just don't see them getting past Kansas. Kansas is a good team. They're really loaded. And as much as I want to believe in the UConn Cinderella story, it's really tough for me.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas, like I said, great team, loaded team, probably one of the stronger 1 seeds in this tournament where, I mean, really, there isn't really a true 1 seed in this tournament, but this kind of reminds me of Northern Iowa, who also is in this tournament and is a team that I also will make a surprising run in the tournament. Alif Rukmanish. I mean, Kansas did not expect to lose in the second round. I mean, I think I had Kansas going to the Final Four that year. And just out of nowhere, Northern Iowa, and Alif Rukmanish just shoots a dagger 3 right in their eyeball, and they get upset. So I think I don't think there's any a single one seed where you can say they're going to make a decent run. In fact, I don't have any one seed in my Final Four.
Really?
Correct.
Well, I don't know how I feel about that because I personally believe, and I think it's just easy in March to play the favorites, and that's something that I always do. I rarely pick upsets just because the odds are always, even though upsets do happen, ultimately the odds are in the favor of the favorite. So that's how I usually do it. I don't pick a lot of upsets. This year, my upset, I have Hawaii over Cal. That's one upset that I have. Really, and the rest of them are not real huge upsets. Like no 15s over 2s or anything like that. I certainly do not have UConn in my Final Four, as much as I want to believe. The biggest upset I have in the first round, I believe, is Hawaii over California. That's an upset that even our president is picking right now. He picked that. And to be honest, actually, I don't know if you saw it this morning. Did you see Barack Obama make his picks?
No, I did not.
His bracket is actually looking pretty similar to mine. I think we have 3 of the Final Four teams correct. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Well, so this year, my bracket is kind of a boom or bust type of bracket.
Okay.
Based on how this year has gone, I expect there to be a lot of upsets. I've picked a lot of upsets. As you know, I have UConn going all the way to the Final Four. And also, one of my other I have at least 2 or 3 12 versus 5 upsets. I'm flip-flopping between South Dakota State and Maryland. I think I'm going to lean on Maryland here.
Me too.
But I have Wichita State beating Arizona. And I have Wichita State actually upsetting Miami too and making it to the Elite Eight.
I can see that.
I also have Temple beating Iowa, and I'm not making it to the Sweet 16. Although I may switch that and put Villanova in a Battle of Philadelphia.
Against Temple?
Yeah, Villanova and Temple.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I think
did go a lot of upsets this year because I saw. Not only do I think Villanova, I watched Villanova play Temple earlier this year, and Villanova completely outplayed them. They were way better.
Yeah, so I actually just switched that. I didn't see that game, but I have Villanova. I just switched it to Villanova over Temple, and I have Wichita State over Villanova also. I'm still going to keep Wichita State to the Elite Eight. And then I have, this is weird. Okay, yeah, and then I have Yale over Baylor.
Really?
Yeah.
You picked that?
No.
I mean, I like to see Yale do well too, but not this Yale team. I don't know if you've heard this. Have you heard about what's happening with that team?
No.
So their captain of the Yale basketball team got kicked off the team because he's a rapist.
Shit.
Yeah, or he may be a rapist. And amazingly, all of his teammates are standing by him and like claiming he's a good guy and he had nothing to do with it. And so memos are popping up all across the Yale campus saying, "Don't support Yale basketball."
So I'm gonna change that.
Well, don't let personal issues change your picks, but I'm just saying this is something they did lose their team captain during the season. And
right. Well, I mean, I think I just think that's going to be a huge distraction.
It already has. It's really a sad story, and I'll send you the links. If you actually go to Deadspin and type in Yale basketball, you'll find it because there's a lot of stuff on there. The guy did get kicked off the team. He is still like all the players are still like backing him and supporting him, which obviously I don't agree with. Even if he's accused of it, I don't like the fact that they're supporting it. And so I couldn't pick Yale as much as I want to see, because I grew up not far from New Haven. I want to see, that's the Ivy League school I'd want to see do well, but not this Yale team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Well, then
I'll send you more information about it when we're done.
And then I have Northern Iowa upsetting Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And making it to the second round, but losing to Texas A&M.
So you're picking a year of upsets.
Yeah, I am. And then I have VCU over Oregon State. And then I have Chattanooga over Indiana.
Really?
Yes.
A lot of upsets.
And depending who wins this game, as of right now, I have Notre Dame winning in the Michigan over Michigan or Tulsa, and going to the Sweet 16, upsetting West Virginia.
Right.
Who I have beating Stephen F. Austin. And then I have Iona over Iowa State.
So you're pretty much picking every single upset in the first round.
Yeah, like I said, this is a boom or bust bracket.
I can tell.
And I think...
So what's your Elite Eight looking like after all these upsets?
Okay, well then also I have another upset, Gonzaga over Seton Hall. And then so my Elite Eight after the Sweet 16, I have Michigan over Gonzaga, as I have Gonzaga over Utah in the second round. And let's see if I have any other second round upsets other than UConn and Notre Dame. No, that's the only upsets that I have in the second round. And I also have Wichita State upsetting Miami. All right, and so then in the Sweet 16, I have UConn over Maryland. Then I have, although I don't know, now that I have Maryland there, I might change it to. Yeah, as you can see, my it's
your bracket's confusing as all hell.
Yeah,
and I can't follow this for shit.
Well, so then I have Wichita State in the Elite Eight. I have Duke in the Elite Eight, Oklahoma in the Elite Eight over Duke, Kentucky over Xavier, and Michigan State over Virginia. So right now I have my Final Four, my updated Final Four with Maryland, Oklahoma, Kentucky, and Michigan State.
You really think the Terps, the way they've been playing recently, are going to make it to the Final Four? It's really like
see, this is so hard. It's hard.
I understand, because I mean Maryland did come into the season ranked number 1 in some polls, but they really haven't been playing well and at the right time.
Yeah, I mean this is really, I just changed it on the fly here.
Right.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna have South Dakota State beat Maryland in the first round because of what you were saying, with how they've been struggling recently. They're not been playing their best basketball. So I'm just gonna go back to my original pick of the Jackrabbits over Maryland.
Good call.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have it, but good for you for going with the upset. So does that put UConn back in your Final Four?
It does, and it puts them back in the final.
Okay. So your
But
final.
I'm not. But bottom line is I have Michigan State winning the entire thing.
All right. Well, it sounds like you have some work to do and not a
Yeah.
lot of time to do it. So, as far as my Elite Eight goes, we'll start up in the South bracket. I have Kansas playing Miami, and I have Kansas winning that one. I just it's just hard for me to bet against the number one seed. Because at the end of the day, that's really all. Eventually, you end up with usually two number one seeds at least in the Final Four. So I can't bet against that. Then down west, in a bit of a surprise, I don't know a lot about Oregon. So it was hard for me to pick them to go to the Final Four as a number one seed. So I have them losing to Duke in the Sweet 16 and I have Duke playing Oklahoma, and I think Oklahoma is one of those teams like UConn 5 years ago that could get on a run with Buddy Hield playing the role of Kemba Walker. So I have Oklahoma in my Final Four, defeating the defending national champion Duke Blue Devils and advancing in the Western bracket. Down to the Midwest, Michigan State was a tough call because it's March and Tom Izzo. You don't like you said, when you were talking about the Connecticut Huskies, you don't bet against them in March. Well, the other thing we've learned is don't bet against Tom Izzo. But this is the third time that in a row that Virginia will have played Michigan State in my bracket. Are we back? I can't tell. Ugh,
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
All right. So what were you saying?
So I was at excuse me, Virginia and Michigan State. The last, I believe it's 2 seasons now, Michigan State has eliminated Virginia. This time I'm going the other way. Although I may change it. I still have a couple of hours to change this pick, but I may Right now, I have Virginia over Michigan State, just because I think Virginia is good this year. Malcolm Brogdon is a great player, and I think that Virginia will make it to the Final Four this year. I think they're due, and that's who I have coming out of the Midwest. As far as the East bracket goes, excuse me, I have North Carolina defeating Xavier. I haven't seen a lot of Xavier this season, but I've seen plenty of UNC. UNC has a few issues. They can't really shoot, for one. They're more of an interior team. But the defense does win championships. It's hard to bet against Roy Williams. So I have UNC in the Final Four. So my Final Four are Kansas, Oklahoma, Virginia, UNC. And then I have Kansas beating Oklahoma. These two teams know it's a battle of four teams that know each other really well. Kansas and Oklahoma coming from the Big 12, and UNC and Virginia coming from the ACC. I have the historic programs making it to the final game. Kansas over Oklahoma. I have UNC over Virginia, and in my national championship, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, I have Kansas winning their fourth national championship, first since 2008, over UNC. In I think it's going to be a close game. Barack Obama described it as a squeaker, and that's what I'm going to go with because it was his national championship game too. So Kansas over UNC, that's my national championship. I want to see UConn win it, but I don't think it's going to happen. That would be great. I just don't think it's realistic.
Yeah, I mean, I have Michigan State winning 68-63. I mean, you just can't you just can't bet against UConn in March. But I mean, that's how I feel. And I Kentucky upsetting UNC. But let's talk about some of the questionable decisions.
Hold up a second, Mike. What's your Final Four?
Oh, well, you want me to do the whole thing? Or...
No, just tell me who your Final Four is.
Okay. Let me pull it up real quick.
Well, while you're doing that, let's talk about what Ethan said. You said the questionable calls?
Yeah, the questionable selections by the committee. They made Virginia a 1 seed over Michigan State. Also, that Michigan State could have been a 1 seed or should have been a 1 seed over Oregon, but I kind of leaning towards, hey, Oregon won their conference championship. They should be a 1 seed. If it comes down to them and a team that didn't win their conference championship. Right. So I think Michigan State should have been a 1 seed over Virginia. Another questionable decision is Tulsa playing in the play-in game over St. Bonaventure or Monmouth. That was another head scratcher. And also Syracuse as a 10 seed.
First off, Syracuse being in the tournament period is a mistake.
Right, yeah.
Of the belief
exactly.
And I'm no Syracuse fan at all. Just being a UConn fan and from our experience at Syracuse, I'm no Syracuse fan. I don't think they should be in the tournament. But they're in it because of the ACC prestige, and that kicks out schools like Monmouth. And I think that's unfair.
But, I mean, and also you have another team and the team that High Point played in the NIT, South Carolina, who had single-digit losses, and they got squeezed out also. Right. I mean, to me, they looked like a team that should have been in the NCAA tournament instead of the NIT. When High Point played
us too, so
right. So, I mean, South Carolina is another team that was left off for whatever reason. But I mean, having Syracuse in the tournament to begin with is a head scratcher. To have them not even playing in it, playing game as a head scratcher, and to have them in the tournament is a head scratcher. I mean, they had 19-14 record.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, what is that? That's weird. That's
and High Point didn't even make the tournament.
Head scratcher. I know. But yeah, so those are the big question marks.
And by the way, I would like to say that in the rare instance that I will root for Duke is when they play one of the other teams from the Big South. And guess who Duke is playing? Or no, Asheville. They're playing Wilmington. They're playing Wilmington. Villanova's playing Asheville. My bad. But still, go UNC Wilmington then. Go Villanova. It's Asheville.
Yeah.
Easy call there.
Yep. So. All right, I think I decided to put Oklahoma in the national title game, but I still have Michigan State winning. That doesn't.
All right, so change. Mike, what was your Final Four? You said you had it pulled up.
Yeah, it was UNC, Michigan State, Kansas, and Duke.
And who do you have winning it?
Kansas versus UNC and UNC.
I mean, I think a lot of people will go with UNC or Kansas. And probably a lot of people have them both playing each other. So, fair call there.
Yeah. All right. So, so my Final Four: Wichita State, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Michigan State, and Michigan State beating Oklahoma.
That's going to be interesting if it's Michigan State.
Michigan State, Oklahoma.
Didn't you say it was the Final Four was Michigan State?
No, Wichita State, Oklahoma, Kentucky, and Michigan State.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I misheard you.
Right, with Michigan State beating Oklahoma.
Right. And just to close things out here, I've got my Final Four. I changed it. I put Michigan State in my Final Four. I've got UNC, Michigan State, Kansas, and Oklahoma, with Kansas taking home the title over UNC.
Yeah. And so basically I had Wichita State over UConn in the Elite Eight.
Yep.
All right. So that will bring us to our walk-off.
Yes.
And my walk-off is oh, I forgot what my walk-off.
Weren't you going to do something about the Patriots?
Well,
if you want, I can go ahead of you.
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right, so I just want to give a shout out to my Ethan and I. It's both of our alma mater and Mike's future alma mater, High Point University, and a special shout out to the men's team, and especially the senior class. The guys like Adam Weary, Sheen McIntyre, Lorenzo Cugini, and the incomparable John Brown, the greatest player in Big South Conference history, and I don't even think it's that close. And he will be the best player in conference history for a long time coming. So I want to give a shout out to them. Obviously, I think they deserve better than what they got. They won the conference championship 4 years in a row in the regular season, and they had no NCAA tournament berths to show for it. You can blame whatever you want, injuries, bad coaching. I think you'll get an argument on both sides. But I'm of the belief that High Point should have been at least in one tournament out of the 4 years. But what they accomplished should not be forgotten. Mike and I were at the senior night game. That was one of the most – you and I, Ethan, we went to a lot of great basketball games, but that senior night this year against Winthrop, although it ended up with John Brown breaking his foot.
Just like his first year playing, he broke his foot right before the conference tournament.
Which is why my bracket name this year is John Brown's Foot 2.0, because this is not the first time this has happened. But they deserve all the credit in the world. And to be honest, I want to give a big shout out to the guys that aren't graduating this year on the High Point team. Hard against UNC Asheville. The team has a lot of bright spots. I'm never going to stop watching High Point basketball, but hopefully they make it back next year. I think they have pieces in place to be solid next year, and I feel like the conference is going to be so much wide open now that John Brown is leaving. So I think anything could happen. But yeah, shout out to High Point. Go Panthers. Tough loss in the NIT last night, but we will be back.
Yeah, I just have stuff to add with that too.
Go on.
My bracket name is actually Adam Weary's knee.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a bummer. Like my friend said that, and this was before Stony Brook beat Vermont in the America East tournament. But he said High Point and Stony Brook have been the most successful successful schools in the last 4 or 5 years without a tournament NCAA tournament berth to show for it. And I've said this before, but High Point, they've kind of become the Buffalo Bills of the Big South Conference. They've won the regular season 4 years in a row, but have nothing to show for it in terms of an NCAA tournament berth. And I talked about it earlier in the podcast that High Point has been extremely unlucky with untimely injuries to key players. I mean, it's ridiculous to have John Brown break his foot twice just before the conference tournament starts. I mean, it's just a shame. It's an absolute shame. But I mean, Anthony Lindauer, he improved a tremendous amount as the season went on, became a much more consistent 3-point shooter as the season went along, came up big at times in the absence of Weary and John Brown with some key 3-pointers. So he's going to be the leader next year. Miles Bowman Jr., fantastic. He's coming back next year, right?
Oh yeah, Bowman's a stud.
Yeah, he's a stud. 20 rebounds in the Big South semifinal loss to Asheville. That was absurd.
We were even noticing, like, you remember, Mike, when we were at the game and the guy kept yelling, "Keep Bowman in! What are you doing?" Like every time they took Bowman to the bench, there were people screaming, "What are you doing?" Because Bowman was just on fire.
Yeah,
he's a big part of the future of this program.
Yeah, and so I think High Point next year is still going to have another chance, but it's just a shame that John Brown isn't going to be able to show himself off to the rest of the country, because the country's really missing a great player in John Brown. He had an opportunity to potentially to showcase his talents to the country, but unfortunately injuries prevented that from happening, and it's just a shame.
It really is.
But hopefully John Brown, he gets picked in the second round of the NBA draft or signs on with the team as a undrafted free agent, because I think he could be an NBA talent, or at least drafted by an NBA team or play in the D League.
Absolutely. And like I said, John Brown is incomparable. I mean, we saw it all 4 years of his career. How blessed were we to see John Brown play? I mean, we're so lucky to see that guy play on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And I'll never forget John Brown. I'll never forget any of these guys, really. This was really a special time to be a High Point Panther fan. I love my alma mater. I love our athletic program. I love everything about HBU, except for security. And I think that athletics is great, and hopefully we continue the success we've had.
And also, whenever that new arena is built, I think they said within like 5 or 8 years.
Yeah.
That's gonna help with recruiting also.
Absolutely.
And expand the brand of High Point University basketball. But from college sports to the NBA, we've heard Sean make a pitch to Kevin Durant, but I think an underrated, flying under the radar team in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes is the Boston Celtics. It's a great situation for the Celtics in Boston. You have one of the best coaches in the NBA in Brad Stevens, a young, exciting, athletic team. Isaiah Thomas is a rising star. And the Celtics cap situation is fantastic. So the Celtics have room for not one, but 2 max contracts to add in the offseason. And this is a shout out to Kevin Durant and Al Horford or any other star that's a free agent or could be traded to Boston. Boston is a great place to play, winning tradition. Yeah, it may not be South Beach, but if you want to win and play for one of the best coaches in the NBA on an up-and-coming team that has a bright future, then the Celtics is a place to be. That's my
Knicks. That's all I have to say. Just come to the Knicks, please. We need you. I'll get down on my knees and beg if I have to. But
yeah,
that's all I have to say.
I'm sorry, Brian.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. All right. And with that, we leave off with one shining moment.
Yes, sir. Rest in peace, Luther Vandross.
And have a good night, and may the odds be ever in your favor when it comes to your brackets.
Rest in peace.